Hi, I'm Vibrine Somers and welcome back to another episode of Soul Stirring Astrology, where I give you my textured take on the world of astrology. So we have a solar eclipse that is moving through Cancer, and that takes place in a couple of days' time on July 2nd stroke 3rd. Now this solar eclipse is in Cancer, so this is a direct invitation for you to find your nirvana, your internal nirvana. What does the concept of home actually mean to you? So we have the solar eclipse, so we have the sun and the moon, which is conjuncting the north node. So the north node is about your future direction, and this solar eclipse is about new beginnings. It's the new beginnings to your emotional terrain, your emotional world, your emotional responses. How do you want the world to relate to you, and how are you now going to relate to the world with confidence? And the reason being is because the North Node is at 17 degrees of Cancer, which really is a degree signature of confidence. It's representative of Leo. So how can you go about building, is it a cradle or is it a castle? This internal world that is so safe, so secure, so loving, that you neither want to escape it, but neither do you want to protect it, because you're then so much at ease with it, because it's a home that you have chosen. Now, to arrive at this home, one needs to look at the opposition, so the kind of signature, the stellium, so to speak, with the sun, the moon and the north node. They are opposing Saturn conjuncting the south node. So the south node is about, you know, your past. Obviously Saturn's there, so it's your past sense of authority, structures, self-governance. What lessons did you actually learn with regards to self-governance? What gave you the sense of security that you were able to demonstrate in the outside world based on your authority? What did you actually learn? What were the lessons that you can take away? Let go of the past, but you're extracting the lessons that Saturn in Capricorn gave you, because this is what's going to give you the emotional kudos to do what you want to do. So you're going to extract the lessons and you're going to imbibe or integrate the lessons into this solar eclipse conjunct the North Node in Cancer. So you no longer have to be this external authority with nothing to back it. What you're trying to do is extract the goodness from the lessons you learnt into this sense of nirvana, of peace and tranquility and calmness. You know, when you were in the external world, you had your shield, you were into battle, you were into war, demonstrating that you are an authority. Whereas with the solar eclipse, it's saying you don't have to operate like that anymore, particularly that Saturn is conjunct in the south node there. This is about the gentle breeze, the gentle winds that are calling you back home. So it's time for you to work from the inside out. Build this castle, build this cradle, build your nirvana. Now you're being supported because we have Neptune, and Neptune is forming a trine with this stellium of the solar eclipse plus the North Node. So here it's about having faith and trust and belief, the inner belief, doing it very gently but also very knowingly. You have the confidence to trust, to have faith, just to let go. So although the stellium is being supported by Neptune, Neptune is still in a square with Jupiter. And so you've got two planets, both in their own signs, and they're dealing with the vibration. So for you, it's about what choice are you going to make? Are you going to choose the collective vibration that appears to be supporting, in a trine, it's supporting the solar eclipse and the North Node? Or are you in a bit of a conflict because we've got Jupiter, which is forming a quincunx to the North Node and the solar eclipse? And so Jupiter is, well, you know, I want freedom. I want to be able to explore the ideas of the world. But it's retrograde at the moment, which means what are your internal ideas that are guiding you along your path of wisdom? Is there a separation between what you understand your wisdom to be to what it actually is? And either one, is it conflicting with the North Node? Because the North Node is pulling you into your new home, your new nirvana, your new way of being. Which one are you going to choose? The solar eclipse energy is going to be around for the next 6 months, and it certainly has closed the door, or it potentially has closed the door on your old life. So that's been shown because we have Mercury and Mars that has transited through Cancer through June. They now have just entered Leo. So when they were transiting through Cancer, then you may have experienced a sense of warring that's been going on, this internal warring, you know. You have Mars going through water, so, you know, this passive-aggressive warring of your mind. So you've internalized arguments or ideals or situations and scenarios that you've been warring with, you know, you should have said this, I wish I'd said that. But actually what they could equally have done is cleared the path. If you've been following the energy is you may have had this internal schism, this mental schism plus an emotional schism that you've been battling with. But actually you don't need to have the schism anymore. It's about unifying the schism. Now that Mercury and Mars have moved into Leo, it's about the courage to actually make and take decisive action. You know, with them moving into Leo, it's time for you to be the king or the queen in your own life. You've worked through the emotional battles, and now that you can stand proudly at this point, as both of them are now at this 0 degree, Mars is at 0 degree of Leo, and then you have Mercury at 3 degrees of Leo. Courage, intuition, inspiration. How do you live these things in a way that's meaningful to you and enables you to navigate this emotional terrain, which it's inviting you to do? You can do this confidently, you can do this courageously. Now, Mars is at 0 degrees of Leo, and it's at exactly the same point that the full moon lunar eclipse was at 0 degrees of Leo on the 21st of January 2019. So we've got Mars here, and Mars is like reflecting back. That was an end of a cycle. It was the end of the Leo and Aquarius axis. It was the nodes that had travelled from August the 21st through to August the 21st, 2017 through to January the 21st. 2019. It was the end of a cycle. So now that Mars is here in this position, it's asking you to look back, and it's looking back in terms of you severed that now, move on. You severed that now it's time to really flow into where the North Node is. If you haven't been courageous and you've been holding on and you're still battling, stop doing yourself a disservice. It's time to flow, and it's with gentility, it's with peace. It's because you've worked out, you've repositioned yourself, your life, your emotions, what's meaningful to you. Also, right at the beginning of the year on January the 1st, New Year's Day, Mars was at 0 degrees of Aries, and so here we have the transit of Mars, 0 degree of Leo, looking back at the transit of Mars at 0 degrees of Aries, and Aries being a cardinal sign, it was the first day of a new year. So we have this double signature of new year, new beginnings, and what decisive action can you take, did you take, would you have taken on that day? The trine is, you know, you had the chance to do it then, I hope you did. The trine now is like, if you didn't do it then, make sure you do it now. It's at 0 degrees at really potent points. And it made me think about where I was on New Year's Day, and I took some very decisive action. I'm action orientated anyway, but there was a situation and a scenario that I confronted very directly, because I felt actually I can't allow this situation to remain in my life. I can't allow this person to remain in my life, because I would have been out of integrity with my own life, and I can't have that. It's just not who I am. So it was quite easy to take the decision, very decisive action. So this signature is pointing to it. And interestingly, I took the action on the first day, January the 1st. And the conclusion of the action happened on January the 21st, where there was this lunar eclipse at 0 degrees of Leo. So it was a fantastic closure, very liberating, fantastic, and that's all in the past, as it should remain. And so what Mars's position here is, it's in Leo. It's like stand up and be counted, be the king, be the queen, own who you are. You've come through Cancer, now it's the time to bask, but you're going to go back into Cancer now that we have this solar eclipse conjuncting the North Node. The solar eclipse with the North Node, it's like, it's you can swim downstream. There's no longer this pushing the boulder up the mountain, as would be suggested if you stay within the Saturn conjunct the South Node energy. You'd be continually pushing the boulder up the mountain, which means that you're disconnecting from where your emotions naturally lie. You'd still be having the carapace. You know, the hard shell, Cancer, the crab, it's got a hard shell, it's a carapace that protects you from the world. With the solar eclipse in Cancer, you don't need that type of protection if you've gone through and been honest with what's meaningful to you, what really matters. Have you dealt with the inner conflict, the Mars conjuncting Mercury, going through water? Have you really dealt with it? Are you now at peace? Are you ready to rise in your peace? Are you ready to tap into the beautiful energy? Because we have Chiron is trining Mars and Mercury. So any wounds that you have or you had, it's the time to release them. It's a trine, it's gentle, it's let go of the past. Stop clinging on, you know, pull the pincers in of the crab. You don't need to be there clinging on, hoping for the best. It's that circle, that cycle has been completed. It's time now to flow downstream. No more pushing boulders up the mountain. We also have Venus, and Venus is just about to move into Cancer. Here's another indication for you to feel secure in what is meaningful to you. Venus is about what you love. Venus is also about what you value. Where's the value in your home, your inner home? That could be made up of a number of building blocks, and one of them could be your values. What are the values that you're building this new home, this new cradle, or this new castle? What's the foundation? Don't forget the lessons learned from Saturn. What's the foundation that you're now going to be overlaying with this Venus energy, Venus in Cancer, the solar eclipse in Cancer, the North Node in Cancer? It's like time to put down roots in a way that makes your heart sing, because there's an ease to it. You're not clinging, you're not lying, you're not into, because you've got to be mindful, because Cancer is very much about the secret deal. If I'm nice to you and I do these things for you, then you'll be nice to me. Now, I may not be overt with that, but covertly that's what I'm thinking. The more nice I am to you is the more that you're going to like me, and the more that you're going to provide me with security. An example of that is, imagine a relationship and you are always the custodian for your partner's poor behaviour. It's okay. In fact, it was on an episode of, great example is Jada Pinkett Smith, and so on Red Table Talk. and it's the episode with Esther Perel. Brilliant episode, all of them are great. But in this episode, she was speaking about her relationship with Will. And she was saying, you know, don't worry, I'll take care of all of the things that you can't take care of or don't want to take care of. It's okay, I'll take on that for you. And then it got to a point, it's like, I can't do this anymore. But the reason why I did it was because I saw you as being my provider. You were my dad, so I was trying to work out my daddy issues with you. It's very similar to this signature. Who are you projecting your sense of security onto? It's like you've placed somebody in a role that they did not audition for. This solar eclipse going through Cancer is saying you need to bring an end to that. You are the king, you are the queen, and kings and queens don't act like babies. Kings and queens lead from the front. So if you know in your heart, if you honestly look at yourself and think, where am I projecting my sense of security that I have given up on? With the solar eclipse going through Cancer, it's time for you to reclaim that. Like the king you are, like the queen you are, and build your nirvana, build that castle in the sky that you can actually turn into a reality, because the lessons learned from Saturn will give you the foundation to do so. So that's it, beautiful people. Which brings me to the quote of the day. And the quote of the day is by Warsan, Shire. And what he said is home isn't necessarily where I came from. Home could be a place I've never been to before. How beautiful. If you've got the courage to step forward into what the North Node has waiting for you, you know, wherever you felt conflicted, deal with it. Because I always say wherever there's conflict, once you confront it, then there's peace beyond it. You've got peace beyond conflict, so don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of getting into a confrontation with somebody. If it's yourself, start there. You know, don't be afraid to confront the situations that you know you choose to hold on to, but that are holding you back. So that's it, beautiful people. Wishing you a very powerful solar eclipse in Cancer with this North Node. Don't squander the opportunity. It's a fantastic opportunity for you to put the crown on. We're in Cancer season, which is leading up to Leo season. It's time to put your crown on, yeah, and strut your stuff, but not like a peacock, more like you're coming from this sense of such deep well-being that you emit it. You emit the vibe that all is well. As always, beautiful people, put your comments in the comments box below. Feel free to share and like this episode with anybody in your network, and you can like and subscribe to my channel. If you'd also like a personal reading with me, get in touch by breensamuels@googlemail.com, and I will see you again on the next episode. Stay well and really enjoy this solar eclipse in Cancer. The energy will last for the next 6 months. Make the most of it, as at the end of the 6 months we move into 2020, and we all know what's waiting for us when we have Saturn, Pluto conjuncting alongside Jupiter. Stay well, and I'll see you again on the next episode. Bye.